Well, here again, we are on the middle of March, beginning the middle of March, at the beginning of the middle. That's an interesting point. But anyway, we are doing our weekly topic of the week. And this time, like always, Professor Lorenzo will introduce the topic.
Thank you, Muki. Hi, everyone. We are, as everyone knows already, I guess, exploring through these weekly videos Muki Tenenbaum's philosophy of disillusionism, his misalgic theory about human behavior as always a way of avoiding or trying to avoid suffering. And every week we are trying to analyze from this point of view and in a way to illustrate this point of view by analyzing news events as they happen. And this week we are going to analyze a bit of news that's taking place in the United States, but it shows processes that have been going on all over the world since a very long time ago, and it has to do with us, not with Muki and me, but with us as a social construct, with us as a way of identifying with others and as a way of clashing against those who are not included in the us. So we are going to think about us as a concept, as a word, from a disillusionist point of view, taking a look at the news today.
Well, the news of this week was that in the US, numbers in the actual crisis are going down. And so we have now two states, Texas and Mississippi, decided to go their own way and do not require any more face masks. And then the president of the United States criticized the move, and the Mississippians answers, the governor of Mississippi says, we, us. The Mississippians do not need outsiders to tell us what to do and how to behave. And I was struck by the word we, or us, as you say, depending again, the same word. I was surprised by the use because us normally, or we, mean that it has a practical choice. Let me give you an example. Let's say we are, how the we began, how the word we appeared. Probably, and here I'm speculating, of course, there was a time that they needed to the hunter-gatherers, these are the hunters, gatherers are much easier. The hunter says, well, I cannot shoot or kill a mammoth or even a smaller animal by myself. I need some help. So then becomes the us. Let us go and kill the animal. Yes, that was the beginning of that word, and it is already not real. Yes, because there is an I and there is the no I. Let's say the you. So Florencio and I, if I prick myself with a pin, I will feel pain. You will not. Of course, there is empathy. We made a whole video about empathy in the past. You will feel empathic, but the feeling of being pricked by the pin is going to be mine. So there is no we. There is always an I and another I, which becomes a we for a certain task, okay, or for a certain thing. Sometimes it's beyond the task. Yeah? So I can say about me and my wife, we are on a diet. It's not really we are not on the diet. I'm on a diet. She's on a diet. Yes, and if I eat, she doesn't get fat. And if she eats, I don't get fat. Yes? So, but there is a we. There is still a we, and it makes sense because when you go to eat somewhere with a friend and say, "Sorry, we are on a diet," I could say, "I'm on a diet. She's on a diet." But it makes it's more practical to say we are on a diet. That is the amount of we in which the real part, the practical part, is most of the. It's really it encompasses most of the work. It has a practical issue. But then when I'm in a hotel, I say we, the guest of this hotel. That becomes really very difficult. We the guest of this hotel have to travel by elevator when we go to. Yes, but the information is normally not very important, and there is no point of saying we the guest of the hotel. But if I start saying like we Mississippians, I could say we Buenos Aires, people from Buenos Aires, we the New Yorkers, or we the Jews, or we the men. Yes, when we started doing that, normally it comes together with some epical statement. Yes, it has an epic thing. I mean, it's not just we. I wouldn't say, we are normal people. We are all Mississippians. We have nothing different. We are all the same. Could happen, but normally it's not. Oh, we are Mississippi. We have a great weather. We love the Delta, and we are proud of this history of Biloxi. I mean, there is a big we there that you could use, and normally it has an epical value. And in front of the we, there is a you, and I mean the you in plural, not the you Florencio, but the you. And when I talk about you, it may have an anti-epical content. That means probably I will not be speaking well about you because I'm taking myself out of that equation. So when I talk about us, I talk good stuff, and it is epical. And when I talk about you, I say you are all you young people you have no conscience. You don't understand what life is about. That's very common. We hear that. Yes, I don't say we young people. This case will be really incorrect at least. But the whole idea of the you in front of the we that differentiation has to do with good and bad. Normally we use it, or they, of course. Then when we talk about they, we know the history of racism or anti-Semitism or sexism or any ism. Normally it's a they. Yes, you don't say. But there could be an epic about the pain. I could say we the Jews were persecuted all these years. Yes, but there is an epic in that because not every Jew was persecuted, and each one was persecuted by himself. Yes, even in the Holocaust, one person died at a time. It was their own death, not the we. There are 6 million Jews that died in the Holocaust, of course, but that is a number. There is no we, because first of all, I was not killed in the Holocaust, but what I'm trying to say, there is always an epical part. Yes, let me give you another example of epic. It has to do, for example, to understand it. Epic has to do with it's an illusion. Normally, an epic comes to cover some gray, uninteresting fact, but you want to try to bring the attention to the other one. You want something from them. You want them to feel awe or admiration or pity or whatever. He wants to elicit that. Then you use epics because epics normally elicit emotions. So but the truth behind it, it's really illusory. Most of the we, when we talk about it, it's almost, a state is an illusion. We talked about it many times. It's stated. The God is an illusion. Family is an illusion. That means if tomorrow I have an attack of amnesia, I will not differentiate the White House from any house that looks like that. I will not differentiate my brother from anybody else. I will not differentiate God. I will not know about any God, and certainly I will not understand what is that thing hanging on the wall. Whatever thing is hanging on the wall of that temple, whatever it is, it will be like decorations. Who is decorating this thing? I mean, that will be the amnesia. And here is the same. There will be no we. You see, one of the things you lose in that amnesia test is the we. What do you say about this?
I think it's clear enough that we have two we's, that with us here today, there are two different meanings of the word us. One which is very concrete, very practical, in which I guess every member of the set has a name attached to him or her. And there's no quarrel with that, I guess, from a disillusionist point of view. The thing is, there's this other meaning of the words we and us that has to do with anonymity, maybe usually with huge numbers of people that we cannot count, and that you say has an epical part to it. When we start speaking about us men, or us the Spanish speakers or the English speakers, and it's clear enough for me why the first we appears, why the first us appear. This is very practical, this is very commonsensical. It has to do with even the simplest tasks. We need to be before our devices for half an hour in order to record a video, and there's a we there. But I wanted to ask you about the purpose of the second type of we and the second type of us. These huge illusionary sets with an epical side to them are, as you said here, to fight, to fend off meaninglessness. Are they part of our misalgic endeavors? Because I perfectly understand they came after the others. They have a correlation to the others, but they are different in nature. So how and why did they come to be?
Well, illusion, as every illusion, comes to add to is a response to our misalgic behavior. We run away from suffering, and suffering doesn't have to be a prick in my finger. Suffering could be my honor being dishonored, or anything that I can think of, and of course the fear of the more. So in general, epic comes to, when the animals that suddenly go big like this, to show they are big, so the other one will be afraid. That's about that. It's like I think it's a hedgehog that does that, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that area in zoology. But there is these animals that they become big, so the other one is afraid. They even tell you that when a bear attacks you, you should look very big. I don't think you at that time have to recollect. Was it big or was it small? Shall I move or shall I not move? I don't think you have the time to do that, but even if you do, you're in a position to make a good decision about it. But it's really, that's the whole idea of epics. So what I'm trying to convey to the other one is something that has to do with my fear, any of my fears, because normally it has to do with not something that's happening in the moment. It's not the bear that's attacking you now. It's for all the bears to know, yes? All bears, look me, I'm very big, yes? That's the whole idea. And if there is we are, of course, when we are more. 1 + 1 is more than 2. Look, there is normally a we has to do with numbers, has to do with big numbers. It's a big thing. It's not the I. It's not the modest I talking about myself. So that is exactly the issue that has to do with why do we where do we wing? We use the word we or us. Yes, interesting that English has 2 words for us for that, and is Spanish only one, but a longer one. So what? It's important to understand. I have nothing against the word. Okay? A word is like a screwdriver. It's just a tool. I don't care if whatever word we use, but the word, the use of the word we, hiding the fact that you are alone. You are one. You are the one who gets the prick, who gets the pain when you get pricked. And you are the one who dies by himself or herself or itself, whatever self you want. But it's always self. It's always the self one.
And always mortal.
And it's always, yes, it's normally it's so all this, all the we comes to help us is illusory, because it helps us not to fear death, or to fear less, to have less terror of death, or of course to run away from any sufferings that we can think of. And then it becomes also a part of the language, like any screw, the guy who worked with the screwdriver all day. I mean, you are unscrewing screws at the end. Yes, I mean, you are not there. Each screw you are unscrewing with, but the use of it gives comfort. It's a comfort giving word.
You just mentioned a sort of ubiquity when it's not here that we are thinking about, but maybe at the same time everywhere. And I want to ask you about eternity. It's because sometimes I guess this epical, illusionary, larger, abstract use of the word us and the word we becomes not only far-reaching in terms of space, but also in terms of time, and it includes other generations. It includes those who came before and others who are yet to be. So I think there's a trick here through which your hedgehog of sorts can expand even more. It's not just us men, but us, the whole of humankind, past and future, right? It's an expansion even in that direction.
Well, you mentioned place and time, and I first want to explain place. Yes, it's very common to say we humans. Now it's humanity. Globalization brought the we human, us, we have, they say we have reached the moon. We have got to the moon. We didn't get to no moon. There was a gentleman, his name was Armstrong, the first one, and there were some others, and he was dressed in this big thing, and he arrived to the moon. The thing arrives to the moon, the uniform arrives to the moon, the spacesuit. He was inside, would have been empty. Today with the robot, it would be easy. We never went to them. There was not such a thing. We barely went to to New York, to Buenos Aires, or to the bathroom. It's great. You see how this is, and there is also a way to get your tax, to get your money. This is very simple. We need to help the people of Botswana. So taxes are going up, or we are going to the moon. Taxes are going up. In general, all the we are is going. Taxes are going up. Never the we is you. Yeah, you have to pay taxes. And then there is there is some point where the we goes away and says you have to pay the taxes because it comes from your pocket. That's come from pocket of anybody else. Yes, an injection in somebody else's arm doesn't hurt. That basically is that. Now, going to the past gives you another perspective. So it's not enough that we are talking about those 8 billion people who are supposed to be a we or an us or something. And the good question is, who is the you? If all humanity is the we, who is the you? There is no you. Suddenly everything is a we. And if something, then there is no need for a word. The word is meaningless. The word is opposed to something else. Doesn't appear by itself. So if you go to the past, we the Jews, in my case, yes, we the Jews have been persecuted for 2,000 years. I was not persecuted for 2,000 years. I was never persecuted that I know of. In general, I'm very big, so they persecute me less, and I'm being less prone to persecution. But again, it's because it gives me, when I speak with you, you're not speaking just with this guy. Oh, no. You're speaking with a member of the race that survived 2,000 years, keeping all the traditions. You want the whole epical statement? I can give it to you. And I cannot, here it's very important. I'm not, I can't say I don't use it. I use the same thing. When I talk, it's already inside, it's ingrained in my conversation. Normally, I will try to avoid it because that would not be accurate. As a disillusionist, the important thing is to know that this is that, not to have it. It's not a question of being kosher or not kosher, of being permitted or forbidden. We should never use the word we. A great statement. But to understand what we use is again the state. There is no state, but that doesn't mean you don't pay taxes. That doesn't mean you go because they have a gun. Remember. So there is no point not to use it, not to be part of it. You can play. You are really an actor in part of that fantasy called state, yes, or the Jews or whatever. When I'm with my wife and we are on a diet, she's on a diet, I'm on a diet. We are not both on a diet. It's not the same diet. When I'm hungry, it's nothing to do with her.
So I guess that covers the nostalgic part, or at least an aspect of the nostalgic part. Meaninglessness and loneliness can be tough sufferings in themselves, I guess, and feeling one is part of a bigger construct that this does help. But you also alluded to what I think is a more practical side to this, which is the one we use every day. And in a way, I guess it brings us back to what you call the sink. Identifying with we Mississippians, we human beings, we men, plays a part in functioning with others. Does it not?
Well, it may, but I would say that it gets into smaller groups where it's more effective. Okay, so the people of my age, not even that, even smaller group, we the people who lived through the war, we know the value of hunger. Yes, we know the value of food, and then you think yourself. Yes, then we all. But again, in general, the thinking part is more you and me, Florence. Okay, so us, we are going to do this tape recording, and we are going to do it at 10 and not at 12, because if you do it at 12 and I do it at 10, probably won't work unless there is two different, unless there is somebody doing the editing. That would be hard. Yes, you have to laugh at my jokes without knowing which are my jokes. That would make it really difficult. But it's synchronic, of course, and it helps. We need the we again as a screwdriver, but you don't pray to a screwdriver, yes, and you don't talk about the marvelous, incredible, amazing screwdrivers, and the outstanding screwdrivers, because it's a screwdriver. It's just a tool.
Very well. Not very uplifting, but very interesting.
Well, but disillusionism is downlifting. That's what disillusionism does. And again, I just want to be clear. I don't say don't use the word. Just know what you mean what is the meaning of the use and what it is. Then you make your choice. You can pray to the God you want. You can be a model citizen in the state you choose. You can be a great brother, and of course you can use the we as much as you want. But disillusionism those are the facts. Now do whatever they want. You see, the facts are gray, Lorenzo. They're always very gray. So remember, sleepwalking. We sleepwalk. The whole thing is quite gray.
Quite bleak. Anyhow, we'll keep at it. See you next time. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.